Top 5 History's Most Iconic Hiders. 1. Saddam Hussein. When George Bush invaded Iraq in 2003, under the apparent threat that weapons of mass destruction might hold for the free world, Saddam Hussein became a moving target on the FBI's most wanted list. However, Hussein was nowhere to be found. On a farm south of Hussein's hometown of Tikrit, with the aid of some loyalists, he hid from the authorities in a bunker-style hideout dug in the earth. The hole, known as the spider hole across the world, was no larger than an oversized grave, with enough space to sleep and sit up. Hussein was on the run for 250 days, ducking into the spider hole whenever suspicion arose. In the end, his luck ran out, and someone ratted him out, leading to his capture. 2. John Wilkes Booth. When John Wilkes Booth shot Abraham Lincoln at point-blank range in his balcony seat at Ford's Theater, there was a horde of angry men on his tail, hoping to stick his head on a pike. Booth made a great escape from the theater on horseback, meeting up with his co-conspirator David Harold. Together, they collected their previously stashed supplies, sought treatment for Booth's broken leg, and began their escape from justice. They managed to hide in the pine thickets for days on end, hoping to cross the Potomac River into Virginia. Finally, justice was served. Booth was caught hiding in a tobacco barn, where he refused to surrender. He was eventually shot and dragged from the barn. 3. Osama bin Laden. With the whole U.S. Army combing deserts and lifting rocks for clues, Osama bin Laden managed to avoid being killed, shot at, or even seen by the U.S. forces for almost an entire decade, while his fellow al-Qaeda members waged war with the West. In the end, bin Laden was tracked to a compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan, known as the Waziristan Haveli, in which he was believed to have lived since 2006. For more than 5 years, he lived undisturbed until an American military operation spelled his end. 4. Hiroo Onoda. When the war in the Pacific ended and the American forces returned to their homes, the death count reached the thousands as the true extent of the war became clear. Hiroo Onoda, an officer of the Imperial Japanese Army, never returned from the jungle and was declared dead in 1959. The only thing is, Onoda wasn't dead. In fact, he was seeing out his duty of protecting the island from the invasion. In 1944, Onoda was stationed on a small island named Lubang in the Philippines. Onoda spent almost 30 years hiding in the jungle, believing that the war was still ongoing. It was only in 1974 that he returned from his hiding place to a hero's welcome. 5. Pablo Escobar. As the merciless leader of the Medellin gang, Pablo Escobar spent his final years in negotiations with the authorities, fighting court cases and hiding. Aided by the U.S., the Colombian government set out to put an end to Escobar's reign, driving him into hiding. He had many hiding spots, but one of the most infamous was his luxury hideout in Tulum, Mexico, where he managed to stay under the radar. For more than a year, Escobar managed to avoid being discovered. In the end, he was found in a middle-income residential area in Medellin, where he was shot and killed. His Tulum mansion has since been turned into a luxury hotel.